Same ones from the game, Goodwin and Breida. They returned, no issues today. And then all the same existing injuries.
So they're not in the protocol?
No. Yeah.
Why did Goodwin not? Goodwin was cleared yesterday. Did he?
Yeah, he was good enough. He passed the concussion deal, but he was hurting a little bit on the sidelines and just the type of game it was. And Bourne was more of our mutter, so he went in and handled the rain pretty good. So we just stuck with it.
Seems like Goodwin's gotten hurt a couple of times close to the line of scrimmage over the last couple of years. Is that just unavoidable? I mean, from a coaching standpoint, is there not much you could do to keep
you always want guys to avoid contact going over the middle. I mean, especially when the ball's not in his hands. Guys do try to reroute people over the middle a lot, so it happens. They're not supposed to be able to do that right there, but it does happen. But it's harder to avoid stuff when it's like I call Kesey's like a crotch rocket ninja going through there. And it's a little harder for guys moving that fast to avoid things. So I think it is tougher with Keese on that, but that's one of his best talents too.
What are you able to take from the game after evaluating it, just given the conditions were what they were?
I mean, it's not that fun to, the scheme and game plan and stuff for both sides kind of just completely goes out, and you watch the effort and just the guys trying to grind it out through some pretty bad, as bad of conditions as I've been in. I've been in some colder games and snow games and stuff, but none that have really rained that much from beginning to end, and especially on that type of field. So you just evaluate the effort, how hard guys played, and that was one of the big things. Just saying to them at halftime is that in a game like this, whoever wants it more is the team who finds a way to win. And when we get on that plane, hopefully we can watch the silent tape, and it'll be obvious who wants it more. And our guys played hard, and you could see it on the tape, and I think that's what you could see after the game too.
There were a lot of striking pictures that came out of the game, the slide, but also the Mike Person with all the mud. Has that been making the rounds?
Yeah, John showed me that on the plane last night. That was a cool picture. Can't believe how good cameras are these days, but yeah, there was lots of cool stuff.
Were you close? I think that happened right after the interception return when all of your linemen were just sliding out of bounds, making that tackle. Were you close to that?
I can't remember. I was probably too blacked out of anger. But yeah, those guys get by us a lot, get used to avoiding them. I'm yet to get injured on one of those, but a lot of coaches have gone down, so you better be paying attention.
There was a report that came out over the weekend that you guys were actively in the market, potentially for trading for a receiver. I know you're always looking to improve your team any way you can, but how much urgency do you feel at that position in particular to make an improvement?
I think less than we've had in the last couple of years, because I do see that there are guys in our building that I do think the answers are here. It was tough not having Debo last week, Keese being a little bit banged up. We'll get both of those two back. The guys we have, I still think, can continue to get better, and we're still holding out hopes too for Jalen and Trent Taylor that they can heal up and hopefully return later this year. So always looking to improve though, like you said, but I do like the guys we have here.
What was the genesis of the idea to give your dad a game ball? He wasn't there, was he?
No, and that's that was something I planned on doing for a while, and I just the reason I told the guys is because I was just very appreciative of them, like those conditions and stuff. You never can use it as an excuse, but since we won, I can at least bring it up that it is tough to go out there, and it was our first 10 a.m. kickoff game this year, and the weather coming into that stadium like that, and ended up having about 6 starters out, so I had a lot of excuses to not go out there and play as hard as they did, but the way they played, I was just very appreciative of that. The effort that they gave allowed me to do something that I've wanted to do for a while.
You talked to your dad last night?
Yeah.
What was that conversation like?
It was actually just text because I had to get on the plane, and I don't like talking in front of other people. So I just sent a text, and it was good. Yeah, I think I didn't have to talk to him to know that he was excited, and he didn't have to talk to me to know I was excited. So we knew it would feel good if we could get that done.
How is the running back rotation working out for you so far? And is it important to you to have guys with similar skill sets as opposed to guys who have different skill sets that might complement each other?
Not totally. To me, you just try to get the best guys available in every aspect, and then you try to use their traits accordingly. However, whatever gives them the best chance to be successful. We've tried to do that. Our guys are similar in the fact that they all can run. Jeff probably being the slowest one out of those guys, but that's just because he doesn't run 4.3. But he had the fastest GPS miles per hour time on an offensive play. And I think Bourne was second, so we know who our mutters are. But they all have a little bit different styles, and same with receivers and things like that. But you always try to get the best possible, and then just use it however you need to.
Do you still expect to get Ahkello Witherspoon back this week?
Not as much as I did last week. I was hoping for it. Had a little bit of a setback last week, not big, but I think it'll be pushing it this week. There's still an outside chance, but not as much as I felt last week.
For watching the tape, what did you see in Jimmy's interception?
Same thing. We didn't hold the safety long enough, and the safety made a good play over there. When you do, I still want Dante to break that up. I mean, worst case scenario, always say the worst case scenario is an offensive PI. Try to never allow an interception, but he ran a good route, beat the guy hard, just had to hold the safety a little bit longer.
What about Joe Staley? What's his prognosis? He was working out on the field a little bit pregame yesterday.
Yeah, I think he's going to try to get out there, practice a little bit this week. We'll see how it goes over these next 2 days. Just talking to him, I think these next 2 days are big, and we'll see how he feels on Wednesday. I do think there's an outside chance. But hopefully we can get him out on the practice field a little bit this week to where if he feels good and everything, then he can go. But if not, at least he gets a little bit of work in, because it's going to be hard to get a real practice in the following week because of the Thursday night game versus Arizona.
Obviously, yesterday being a very unique set of circumstances concerning the weather and whatnot, and obviously very low-scoring game. You guys have won knockdown, drag-out games. You guys have blown teams out. You guys are finding ways to win in multiple facets. What does that say just about the strides you guys have taken as a cohesive unit this season?
I think it says a lot. That's why I was so appreciative of the guys yesterday, because I did think there was a lot of weird little circumstances that made that game very tough and gave guys a chance to kind of let up and not have the same mentality that we have had for the 5 weeks prior, and especially after a huge win the week before. I always think it's human nature just to ease up a little bit, and our guys did the opposite. So I think it says we got the right guys. We got guys that love football. It's very important to. They don't use injuries as an excuse. They don't use any of those type of elements, and they just work. They play very hard together. You can tell they enjoy each other, and I think I've always felt the tighter your team is, the harder you'll play, and I think that's been evident so far.
What have you learned about your defense in these 6 weeks? I mean, there's been a lot of attention, obviously, on the defensive line and the secondary being much better. And yesterday, the linebacker, Alexander, makes that big play.
Yeah, we've learned that they have a chance to be as good as we thought they could be. We saw them this offseason, and just from an offensive perspective, we knew how hard it was to go against in practice every day. From just looking at it on paper, we knew we had a chance to have a pretty good pass rush with the D-line and the guys that we added this year after the guys we already had. And some things that we just continue to get better at schematically, just playing with these guys for a while. So we went into this year hoping we could be like what we've been so far, and I think we are still continuing to get better. I thought we had a better game this week than last week. It's kind of tough to go off with that weather, but the guys played very well, and it's got to continue.
With Staley and McGlinchey, how much does the way School and Brunskill played factor into how quickly you guys feel you need to get them back?
Not at all. When doctors say that they're healthy and they can't risk themselves, and then the player feels like he can go, and then they look like it in practice, then there's no decision to be made. You don't save those type of things. This league's too hard, and you're going to get your guys' best players out there if they're healthy enough.
I think Julian Taylor only played 6 snaps, but it seemed that he had a really big impact on those 6. Was it that way on tape too?
Definitely. That 4th and 1 was as impactful of a play as there was in the game. And Ronnie Blair made a good play on that too. The whole defense did, but what he did in that jam front versus center, how he got around there, didn't fall, and got that back in the backfield was a very impressive play. Probably would have got out there more. We just didn't. We got off the field pretty fast.
When did you find out there would be a torrential downpour in D.C.?
They've been telling me it was 50% for a few days, and I don't pay attention to that stuff much because there's nothing you can do about it. But then I started paying a lot more attention to it Saturday night. And then when I heard it raining all night, waking up, I didn't feel that great about it. And then got to the stadium and knew exactly what the game was going to be like. And just hoped our guys were ready to play physical and play tough.
Did you try to account for it and work around it in your game plan, or is that the kind of thing you just can't really?
No, you have to. you better have that in mind on every single play. Is this guy capable of having the footing to run this route? Is the quarterback capable of throwing it? There's a lot of things. It's not the most fun game to call. There's a lot of variables that you got to think about, that you're trying to win it, but you're also trying not to lose it on every play, because, I mean, it's both teams. The ball is very tough to deal with in the kicking game and passing game, and in the running game, it's hard to block people when you can't get your feet in the ground.
You talked last week about players getting better with more reps and assistant coaches getting better. In what ways do you think you're better now, 38 games, almost halfway through your third season as a head coach?
Think I said something like this a week ago, but I'm just more used to all the different stuff you have to do. I mean, you get used to I was a coordinator for a while, and everyone's a creature of habit, so I knew my routine as a coordinator for the 9 years I did it. And you come here, and I'm still trying to run offense and call plays and stuff, so you want to do everything that's worked for you in that same way. And you realize you can't as a head coach. You got to do other stuff. You got to work with all different types of people, and I think I've gotten a lot better at just organizing it better. Knowing what I need to do myself, what I need other people to do, stuff that I used to want to be very good at on Wednesday, to try to relax on that a little bit and realize as long as I'm good at it on Sunday, it doesn't matter. I can figure this out Saturday night or something like that. So just prioritizing more. I mean, you still got to do all the same stuff, but you get a lot more used to the better ways to do it that can relax yourself and other people and make you better.
You think you interact with players better than you
No, I feel like I've always interacted with them pretty well. I think we have more fun being 6-0 over 0-8. But I don't think I've changed much in that way.
Are there ways you've grown and adjusted, or grown as a coordinator this year? It seems you've really adjusted your scheme to work around a lot of different injuries and situations.
I mean, I feel like I've been in a lot of similar situations. And had to go through that stuff before, so that's just part of the job as a coordinator. I think what's been different this year is being a coordinator, thinking as a coordinator for the way we've been playing defense. I don't think I've been on too many teams with a top 10 defense, and we're definitely playing better than a top 10. We're playing like a top defense, and when you do have that type of situation. And every time I try to call plays, I'm always just trying to win the game, whatever I think's right, and very rarely are you thinking about the defense dominating someone in my past like I have this year.
It's early in the week.
More guys.
It's early in the week, but you have any Kyle Allen impressions yet?
No, I don't. I'm getting on it right now when you guys are done after 2 more questions. But no, I'm aware. I've seen his highlights on TV, and I'm aware of his record, and I know he's been doing a hell of a job, so I'm excited to get to the tape.
Kyle, not to dismiss the 6 teams you've played, but when you look at the portion of schedule coming up over the next 6 or 7 weeks, is there a sense that you're entering a stretch where the team will need to elevate its play?
I mean, you have to, regardless of who you're playing. I mean, you get better or you get worse. You don't stay the same. And as this year goes, it gets harder and harder. And we got to make sure that as it gets harder, we have to get better if we want to meet our own expectations.
Do you plan to get Kyle Nelson back this week?
Yes, hoping to get him back. I know we get a week. We get a roster exemption for a week, but we should have him in here this week and then decide what to do for Sunday.
All right.
Good. Thanks, guys.